Hello and welcome to the Critically Curious. I'm the Monk, and today, yes, we are in Mountain Blade 2 Bannerlords. Today's video is going to be focused on war sails, and more specifically, it's going to be focusing on naval combat and everything that we could be getting with this app, things that we do know and things that we can kind of guess. We're also going to be having a look at the map, because I think that that's going to play a key role in this latest DLC that's coming out in a couple of months as well. So if this is the kind of video that interests you, make sure you hit that like button and of course subscribe to the channel, that we don't miss out on more videos just like this. I think you all saw that reveal trailer. It looked so cool. It really did. I think we should really break down just a little bit of what we know so far in regards to the naval combat. Now, what we know is that every single faction is going to have their own ships, or going to have access to these ships. There's meant to be around 18 different types of ships, which is a significant amount, I think we can agree. We also know that there's a new faction coming in that will be the Nords, the Norse, the Viking-inspired faction. We also know that they're going to have their own, say, kingdom that they're going to be, coming at us from, their own king, all of that jazz. It looks like, from what I've seen in the trailer, that they're going to have their own unique ships, because I saw that the Dragonhead, for instance, is on their ships, or the point of their ships, looking very Viking-y, like a Viking longship. So I think that's also going to be quite interesting. Now, I'm really interested in how the ships are going to navigate the map, because as you can see, we're looking around the map on the video that you're watching now, and there's loads of little rivers. There's loads of rivers, there's loads of towns close by to rivers, but a lot of these rivers are also blocked off by, whatever they're blocked off by, but they are blocked off. So I think an interesting question is going to be whether all of these rivers are going to be able to be used via ship, whether the map itself, the base map without the extra expansion, is going to get a little bit of rework just to allow ships to navigate around these rivers a little bit more freely. Because if not, then it means that a lot of our naval combat, for instance, is going to be happening around the edges of the map, and perhaps it's not going to have much of an impact. I just can't see that being a thing. I do feel that perhaps the rivers will get a bit of a rework, so we will be able to actually move down the rivers more freely. What's also going to be interesting is that there are a few lakes, or a few little areas that are kind of secluded as well. So it's going to be interesting to see if naval warfare, naval combat is going to be a key way to hold those towns and those cities. Now, it also says that your cities or your towns are going to be able to grow because of this new DLC, because what we're going to be able to do is trade from these ports, and of course we're going to be able to get more, a lot more money in. I guess it's going to work a little bit the way towns work now, in a sense that there are going to be projects that you can build that kind of like boost up your castles, your towns. I'm guessing that's what it means. Interestingly, though, as we can see, some of these towns, cities, they already have little ports. So, I think that it could be really interesting to see how significant those towns are in the future as well. When it comes to actually combat ways, it does look like we are going to be able to attack cities from the water as well. We're going to be able to literally siege a castle from that route, which I think is going to be really, really interesting. I think in a trailer you actually see them defending from a town as well. So again, I think that's almost confirmed. Now, I did grab a few screenshots from the trailer itself, and this one interested me the most. This is obviously a reworked town. He looks like he's looking over the harbour, perhaps even preparing for defending his city against war. Either way, I was really stoked to kind of spot these finer details. We also got shown this landmass. Now, the significance of this, we're not really too sure yet. Is this going to be, the Nord's home? Is this their homeland? Is it just, a small piece of extra land added? Or is there going to be something a little bit more significant added in the expansion? Again, this seems to be another city that has been changed because of the DLC, or perhaps it's a brand new city all in total. But again, it looks really interesting. I'm just so excited for this DLC to drop so we can actually get all the answers and actually get a little bit more of an understanding of how it's all going to work and just how much extra land is going to be in this new expansion. Another thing I was wondering about was whether these smaller islands down in the south of the current map are going to be habitable, or going to be changed at all, because they're kind of just there at the moment. But of course, if naval combat is involved, is all of this extra land going to be usable? Are we going to be able to bring ships down there? It's going to be really interesting to see, just like I said, how much the actual base map will change, and how much more we're going to be able to explore with naval combat in mind. Now, this is a still from the trailer, and I'm guessing this is a Norse ship, right? You can see that the dragon figure at the front of this presumably Viking longship. But what I'm most interested in is the fire in the background and the ships on fire as well. So when it comes to naval combat, I'm wondering if we're going to be able to do very much like the sieges, where we have siege weapons. So in other words, we have like catapults, and whether we're going to be able to do fire, those fireball catapults, or fire trebuchets, or whether it is fire arrows perhaps that they're shooting in order to set those ships on fire. And I remember reading in the patch notes about being able to target enemy masks, chopping down their sails, restricting their movement, their ability to perhaps to run away from the battlefield. So again, that's a really interesting element of detail that we already have there. I think naval combat is going to work very much like it does currently, in the sense that we have an overmap, and then when we reach a armada, we will then be transported onto a battlefield, or in this case, of course, like a battle ocean. But for me, it's the ship-to-ship combat, which is really exciting. The boarding of an enemy ship and potentially taking their ship as yours, that is very, very exciting. I think that so few games get that aspect of it right, and if Mount & Blade managed to pull it off, it could be a amazing, absolutely amazing add to the game. I love the idea of boarding an enemy ship and taking them out. I think that it's going to be extremely hard to pull off, when it comes to actually performance-wise on the consoles, especially. I know that the high-end PCs are probably not going to have too much of an issue, but I think that performance-wise on console, it could be a little bit tricky. Another thing I noted in the patch notes when the trailer launched was that we're going to now have marine troops. We're going to have troops that we can, hire for our ships. I'm assuming that they are going to be better equipped to handle ship warfare, or of course maybe you just need them to run the ship. In other words, to navigate the oceans, you're going to need a crew and possibly an army. I do wonder just how good some of these extra units that they're going to be popping in are, whether any of them are going to be necessarily overpowered than other units, whether we're going to be able to use them as effectively on the water as we are land. It's going to be really interesting to see just how it works, and the more details we get, the closer, of course, we get to launch. And I think one of the more exciting details that I'm looking forward to is just finding out the exact types and builds of the ships that we're going to be having access to, because I kind of want to know if we're going to have access just to an absolute monster of a ship, or whether they're all just going to be smaller, smaller little fighters, for instance. Maybe there's merchant ships, because trade seems to be a big aspect of this upcoming DLC as well. Unfortunately, for now, that's all the information I have for you. Let me know down in the comments what you think, what you are most excited about when it comes to war sales, or whether you just wanted a completely different DLC entirely. I would mention we do have an active and growing Discord. You can find a link for it down in the description of the video. It'd be great to grow the already large community within the Discord. But until next time, I've been a monk who's been a critically curious, and I will see you in the next video real soon. Until then, take it easy, and of course, as ever, guys, happy gaming.